Oh, it's bright up here. I'm going to start off with a quote. We can't teach what we don't know. We can't lead where we won't go. And that's by Malcolm X. I start off by that quote to say this is where, how I envision leadership. Not always being in the front, but the concept of servant leadership, meaning that you are one, you're serving your members, you're serving your community, you're serving everyone around you, while also having that idea in your mind of empowering others. My name is Patrice French. As I just said, I am a native of Houston, Texas. I have my bachelor's and master's degree in social work, and I moved here to St. Louis in 2010. I currently work at St. Louis University as the program coordinator of multicultural education, and with that experience and my commitment to social justice, to equality, to diversity and inclusion, I feel that I have good skills and enough passion and commitment not only to the organization but to this position of Vice President of Administration. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but I will say that with this Vice President of Administration position, it has a lot of components to the current position of Secretary, but what makes it different and what I want to highlight is that accountability piece. And so I'm the type of person that likes to work behind the scenes, that just wants to help make things run smoothly. I'm not a big person to, I still want to represent the organization, but I feel like my actions speak louder than my words. And so in terms of being the Vice President of Administration, a lot of that role entails being good at helping the organization to run smoothly. Because if we have all these passionate people with all these skills and these talents, but if there is an infrastructure in place from which to help our organization be the empowered organization we want to be, then that limits our effectiveness. And so that is where this role is very crucial to the Urban League Young Professionals. I currently work as program coordinator of multicultural education, and within that role I have probably about 4 different jobs that merged into one. And to briefly state, I work with 7 student organizations at St. Louis University, which have approximately 60 leaders and 900 members. And so within that role, I have to currently work to not only develop the leadership of the individual students, but to maintain the records of these student organizations, both financial records, their membership records, to whatever events, programs, and initiatives they have going on. So that takes a lot of work and coordination to not only understand what each group individually needs, but be able to support them in those efforts. And because if I'm not doing my job, then that means they can't be as effective at what they want to do and produce within their organization. I also facilitate diversity and inclusion workshops for the university. And so that means being able to make something that is unique to the organization that is requesting it, and being accountable with what you put forward. And I think my time is almost up, so I'm going to open it up to questions for this position.
Okay, great. Chair, I just had a question in regards, you have great experience from your background. What more can you bring to the organization, or what is your overall plan that you want to have for the Urban League Young Professionals?
That's a great question. In regards to this position, I feel that I can be most effective on the accountability piece, and I didn't expand upon that earlier. So what makes this position very unique for our organization is accountability, and how I interpret that is making sure that what we said we're going to do it, and making sure that we're consistent. And Kenya kind of alluded to this in her presentation of like documenting what we've done in the past so that we can remain consistent in the future. And so that's the thing that I would be looking to do as the VP of Administration, to keep, make sure that our committees, our subcommittees are accountable, make sure they're documenting it, and make sure they're producing the results in a way that we can be able to see the trend of change from year to year. Yes.
Terrell here. I've previously secretary, currently secretary for the past 3 out of 5 years. And one thing I learned was stepping outside the role to help others, even if it wasn't my job. What do you think you bring to the table outside of the position you're running for in relation to the new executive board?
That's also a great question. So I have a range of experiences that I feel will not only be helpful in this VP of Administration piece, but also in working with the other executive board members, chair members, and the general members of the Urban League Young Professionals. One thing I look to do in my work as someone who envisions himself as a social social justice change agent is to work interdependently. And that means not being so siloed to where that only one person works with A, B, and C. So I'm going to utilize my skills and try to reach out to anyone that I can. For example, I volunteered with Kenya a couple weeks ago to help update the calendar, the Google Calendar. And so that's just a way that, it's not my role, I'm not on the Public Relations Committee, but I'm more than willing to do that because I feel like it's going to help our organization.
Great. Thanks, Patrice. Okay, our next candidate for Vice President of Administration